Hey, we're getting a lot of people jumping in here. It is so good to be back and have everybody out there for another workshop here. I'm really excited having everybody pouring in here. What I would like to do before I guess we start with that, I'm Peter Lisoskie, and I'll be the presenter and teacher tonight. There's a lot of new names here. I haven't met you yet, but really excited to have you here, and a lot of familiar names that are out there too. And it's great to have you guys on here to do some more learning. So, hey, Kal, how's it, brother? It's good to have you back in here, Kal. You're one of the students out there that's taking this course, but I guess there's always some new things you can learn, and hopefully, Kal, your story selling is going really well. What I'd like to have you guys do, yeah, Kal says he can see and hear me. Anybody else out there, make sure, before we get started, I just want to make sure you can see the screen. Should say story selling blueprint formula with a blue and gray magnet on it. And then also want to make sure you can hear me. So just type in the chat box, I can see and hear you. That way I'll know we can get going here in just a couple minutes. We're going to be tonight. I'm so excited to have you guys on. This is going to be a really fun webinar. Story selling or storytelling is near and dear to my heart. And I've got some really fun stuff I want to share with you tonight. We're going to get into Star Wars and a bunch of other movies. We're going to talk about how this thing all works. It is going to be about 60 to 90 minutes. So, hold on to your hats. If now's a good time before we start, I'm going to give about 3 more minutes to 6:05 because people are still pouring in. And I just want to make sure that everybody gets in here before we get going. But get a pad and paper, get a pencil or pen, so you have this, and you take some notes here. If you're looking, let's see, in the chat box here, it looks like everybody. Okay, great. A lot of people says I can see and hear you. Hi, Elizabeth. Good to see you on. Elizabeth, you're going to actually be a star in the show here. We have your pretty face in the back end of this with one of your testimonials. So I'm excited to have you on. There's some people who were in the class. Kal was in our previous class. Elizabeth was. Bud and Sandy, there you are. They were in the class. Some people in there. Who else? Let's see. We have class members. Mary Walsh was in the class. She's in here. It's good to see you, Mary. So we'll give it about 2 more minutes just to let some of the people get themselves fired up and get in. If you're having any troubles, number one, if you're having troubles, you can hear me but you can't see me. Could be that you're using Safari. Don't use Safari. Would use Chrome, Google Chrome, Mozilla, or that's Firefox, or Internet Explorer. And then if you otherwise refresh your screen, sometimes there's some problems with Google Chat, not typically, but I just want to make sure that you can see and hear this. Yeah, so Pauline, if Kelly in New Zealand can't hear me, have her refresh her screen or make sure she's not using Safari. Yeah, Elizabeth, yes, really. You're going to see your shining face up in there at the end. So, hey, Renee, how's it going? My longtime compadres, Jim and Renee, are out there. We're just working on developing a product this week and having a lot of fun with storytelling and product factory and all that kind of good stuff. So it's good to have you guys on. We'll get started here in 1 minute. We have some more people pouring in. Looks like some of the people I don't know. I know we have people from all over the world just because, there's people from New Zealand, Australia, UK, all over the US, Canada, parts of Mexico. There might be a couple of people in here from Brazil. So a lot of people are starting to follow this program. There's people who are consultants, coaches, speakers. There's some of you guys in King and Water, I know, because you're on my list, which is good. It's good to have all you guys. This absolutely flat out works really, really well. If we do have some time, we'll see how it goes. I don't want to take, I know a lot of people are on the West Coast, but I don't want to, spend a long, long time. So depending on how fast it goes, we might have time for Q&A, but if not, we'll do that at a different time. So we're going to get going at 6:05. I want to get moving on this thing, and We're going to be talking all about story selling and the blueprint formula that comes along with that. So we'll dive in here. I've got a lot of really, really good information to share with you. I'm super excited about having you on. So we'll get going. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and type them in the chat box. I'm not sure we'll be able to get to them tonight, but we'll see. And we'll go from there. So let's get moving. All right. So what I want to talk about first is really with stories and storytelling, you're really going to finally learn how to get past that no. I mean, I know a lot of you guys, and I don't know of anybody, including myself. I've been doing sales for a lot of years. Nobody likes rejection. Nobody likes to be told no. So story selling really gets you to get past no. It gets you connected with that person to build that trust and connection. And bottom line is it just gets more sales. It is the most natural way to sell that I know. And it actually is the only and right way to sell is by telling stories. It's very powerful in messaging. And by the way, guys, story selling blueprint formula is about, I created the product platform for selling. However, you can use this when talking to your husband or wife. You can use this when talking to your kids. You can use this when talking to your family and friends. Basically telling stories and messaging and metaphors and things like that. It works across the board because we're dealing with common human condition. All right. Now, my goal for this webinar, guys, is I want to teach you these basic things. Number one, how to get beyond no, how to get past that rejection filter that we always seem to run up against, how to build trust, how to create just massive desire. And I'm going to show you how you do that with these sequence of stories, and then how to do the most important thing, which is inspire buying. Okay. No matter what you are doing for a business, using storytelling, you can do this. Okay. So, you want to be able to inspire buying, and that's really, really important. All right. Now, the bonus, guys, if you stick till the end, because I can tell who's on and who jumps off, but if you stay all the way till the end of this workshop, you're going to get sent to you in your email inbox my sales magnet story formula to get past that no, to get past that rejection that you get that makes you feel really crummy. Okay. I'm going to give you a PDF download link and also an audio link of me talking about the sales magnet story. So that's a bonus for those of you that do stick on till the end. I'm pretty sure most everyone will. However, for those that do stay, you will get that free formula. All right. The other thing I want to make sure is, guys, I want your total attention here. We're going to be going through some really cool stuff, some really fascinating stuff. So please turn off your cell phone. Please shut your Facebook account down. Please get off the internet and any other videos you're watching on YouTube. Focus in on this, because I'm telling you, if you once you go through this and you have an understanding of the power of telling stories and using it in the sales process, you will never sell another way again. Okay, so shut out everything, close the door, go to a quiet place if you got kids running around or whatever, but really, really pay attention to what we're going to be learning together here tonight. All right. I just want to give you a little background for a lot of you who don't know who I am. I'm Peter Lisoskie, and I'm going to give you a quick story on really how this whole story selling program came into being. A long time ago, this goes all the way back to, I graduated college in 1983. So yes, I'm kind of an old guy, but 1985 or so, I had been in my job a couple years, and I started traveling around the world. And I started noticing things as I was going to Asia and going to Europe and going to South America, going to Australia, traveling all over the US. And is that no matter where I went, didn't matter the culture or the language, people had kind of a common, when you get to the human condition, when you're talking about fears and doubts and desires and, universal things like kindness and fairness and generosity and love, it's all the same. It's the same no matter where you go. Maybe they express it a little differently because they have a different language, but it's all the same. So in 1985, my mom, great lady, she bought me these VHS tapes because that's what we had at the time. And he introduced me to this guy named Joe Campbell. I don't know if you know who he is. You can look him up. It's Joseph Campbell or Joe Campbell. But he had spent his whole life, and I'm going to talk a little bit about him, really uncovering these common truths with different peoples throughout the history of time, and he called it the power of myth. And he had coined this term, the hero's journey, which we're going to discuss here a little bit going forward in this workshop. But this basically, this power of myth were these VHS to HS tapes, and I sat there in my living room. It was really cold because I used to live in Washington State, and I remember it kind of being snowy that year. But I was just like, I was blown away by this guy's message, and it was like right in line with what I had discovered throughout traveling around the world, the little bit I had done in the last 24 months. So I was like glued to the TV. Well, fast forward then to 1994. I had really grown in positions in corporations, but I had this entrepreneurial itch. I really wanted to start my own business. And it wasn't because I hated doing what I was doing. It's just that, at that time I was, I had my first son. He was 5. I had a little baby, my other son, who was 1. And I started thinking about being a dad, and I was traveling all over the world, and I was kind of missing my boys and stuff. And so I decided I was going to start this business called the Business Toolbox. And I had written this book called Customers for Keeps. And you can go to Google and look up Customers for Keeps, and you'll see a young version of me on the back cover. But what I did, this is about, in 1994, I was in this like little church basement. There was no windows. It was just me and this Apple 2GS computer with a green screen, because I was even before the Macintosh Plus and all this kind of stuff. And how I got to write this book was, at that time, Apple had these things called user groups. And so you could have local ones or whatever. And me being like, well, I want to go big time, I created a national Apple user group. I was the largest one in the country. We had 1,200 members. And I had developed this system that I brought customers in from prospecting and took them and developed them all the way up into strategic advisors in my user group. Okay. So I wrote this book called Customers for Keeps, the networking system to smash your profit barrier. Well, I'd sent out a couple hundred manuscripts to guys like, Brian Tracy and Zig Ziglar and all these guys. I mean, guys, because like Brian Tracy was new at that time, but there was guys like Zig Ziglar, they were around, and a bunch of other people. And I thought, what the heck, I don't, we'll see what happens. So I sent the manuscript out. Well, one Saturday I was sitting in my little church basement office with no windows, and I was doing final editing on the book, and the phone rings. And on the other end of the line, this guy gets on and he says, "Hey, I got your manuscript for Customers for Keeps." He goes, "This is like really fascinating and groundbreaking." He goes, you're really ahead of your time in this stuff. And this book, if you can get a copy of it, it was kind of like the forefather to all the CRM, the customer relationship management stuff that they have now, that they use software tools like Salesforce.com and all that stuff. So he asked me, he didn't introduce himself. He just said, I was kind of nervous because I'd never gotten a call for a manuscript before. This was my first time. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. So he asked me, he goes, "So what's your story?" And I immediately thought, oh, well, he wants to know about the book. So I went into this big pitch process of, well, the book's about this, and this is how it can help people in business. And, and he interrupted me. He said, no. He says, I am, wanting to know, what is your story? What's your passion? What makes you tick? Why did you write this book? And he said, then you can tell me about the book and how it can help people in their business and things like that. Well, little did I know, I was talking to the late, great J. Conrad Levinson, he's the guerrilla marketing empire. If you ever did anything in marketing, he did all the guerrilla marketing books. Okay. And he ended up becoming my friend. He wrote a testimonial on the back of the book, and we got to know each other. He's passed away since, but that was really between Joseph Campbell and J. Conrad Levinson. Those are my two aha moments that actually happened 7 years apart or 6 years apart. That really, I guess 9 years, I can't do the math, 9 years apart, almost a decade apart, that actually caused me to understand that if I want to make connections with people, if I want to grow in what I'm doing in leading and managing people, if I want to sell better, I've got to tell stories. So that's really my background. I put out over 400 products in the marketplace since, but I'll tell you, telling stories is a very, very powerful way to connect with people. It really kind of is almost built into our DNA. All right. So that's a little story about who the heck I am and how this whole story selling blueprint formula came into existence. Now, here's what makes this training different that you're going through tonight. Number one, myth number one is you need to learn sales scripts. Okay. Myth number two, you need to have trial closings. Myth number three, you need to learn objection handling. The real truth of it all and what makes this training different is you need none of these to sell. We have been fed a pile of doggy doo-doo by a bunch of sales gurus out there that they just that they've been teaching you that you've got to learn these sales scripts, you got to have these trial closings, and oh, by the way, you have to deal with all these objection handling because bottom line is if you do a good job, you're going to wear them down to a point where they're just going to give up and say, yes, I'll buy your product. Now I have to ask you a question. Have you ever done that? And if the answer is no, then why do you think doing that form of selling is actually an effective way to do it? Well, the answer is it isn't. And you don't need those things to sell. So I'm here to tell you that those are all myths. And by the way, a lot of you have told me you've tried that and it feels fake. It feels artificial. It doesn't feel good to you to try to sell that way. All right. So what I want to help you do is I want to help you unlock the buying brain and how to do that through stories. Okay. Now I'm going to share with you first because, I like technology. I like science, and you guys, some of you know about my crock brain selling formula. I want to help you understand a scientific fact about storytelling that is very, very powerful. This particular college, which, it's an Ivy League college here in the United States of America, Princeton University, their research center in 2010 did a research project. You can Google this and look it up, where they used what's called fMRI technology. It's functional magnetic resonance. It basically just measures the blood flow in the brain so they can see which brain centers are being activated, okay? And what they did is they hooked up two people, one that was telling a story and one that was receiving the story. Now, what they found out through their research time and time again with fMRI technology, a scientific fact, is that the storyteller and the receiver, the listener of the story, have identical brainwave patterns. Okay. Now think about that. That's pretty significant when you think about, wow, you mean when I'm telling a story, the person I'm telling it to has the exact brainwave pattern that I do, that the way I experience the story, they're experiencing it too. That's very, very powerful. You guys know this to be true because when you watch a tearjerker movie, what happens? You well up in tears. You start crying, even if you're a guy. Okay. The reason is because your brainwave pattern is the same as the character. You become the character in the story. Okay. This is why stories are so, so powerful. Okay. Now, here's this guy. Okay. This is Joseph Campbell. He is the person I was talking to you about in the I was telling you my story. This guy passed away in 1987. But what he did, one of his landmark contributions and his legacy, was he created the hero's journey. Now, this hero's journey is the basic human endeavor or the basic human condition where we live in this. If you see the little guy up there, he's the little trekker guy. He lives in this world of the known. This is your daily life. This is you get up, you have breakfast, your cup of coffee, you read the paper, you pet the dog, you kiss your husband or wife, you go to work. You work all day, you come home, you might have a martini, you watch some TV, you fall asleep in the overstuffed chair, you go to bed, and you do it all over again, right? So that's your known world, and all the things you do, right? So, but everyone out there has certain desires and certain longings for their life to be better or different, okay? That's just the way it's built into our DNA for improvement, for betterment, for service to others. We just do. And so we go through this from known. We have this person that's a supernatural aid. I'm going to talk about it called the Herald. Okay. And I'm going to tell this in terms of Star Wars here in just a second. So you really get an understanding of how powerful Joseph Campbell's hero's journey is. And then I'm going to teach you, here's how you apply it to selling. Okay. So you have this Herald that, basically calls you to adventure, that you get to know and trust. They help you cross that threshold from known to unknown. Then you go through this big, huge trials and tribulations and challenges. You have a mentor and helpers that are helping you. There's temptations. Then you go through into this abyss, this death and rebirth. Now, when we talk about this, this is all in terms of your inner dialogue, okay? If you break it down to its simplest sense, we all have core doubts and fears, okay? These are things in terms of, well, what if this happens? Or what if that happens? Or what if I join this company and I'm a complete failure and I look like a humiliated fool in front of my family? Or here you go again. You're trying this other network marketing opportunity. And the other one's failed. Why do you think this is different, right? We all go through these doubts and fears, right? Versus these core desires of, well, you know, if I bought this product and it actually did what it said it was going to do, this could change my health. This could change my life. I could have a business opportunity where I finally would have the freedom of time to go where I want, when I want, to travel, to have the money, right? So that's a core desire. Okay. Or it might be, you know, I'm getting scared because my kids are 13 and 14. I don't have enough money to pay for their college education. So I got to do something. My desire is to be able to pay for their college education while I'm watching them walk across the stage and knowing that they didn't have to take on a lot of student loan debt. Okay. You see, these are things that are your core desires. If you finish the sentence of, if I could just, and whatever that is, that's typically your core desire, right? So we go through this battle when we enter into the unknown, even with our mentor and helper, we go through this battle between core doubt, which is fear, and core desire. And we have this final battle where we get into a death and rebirth. They call this the innermost cave, where you're going in and you're duking it out inside your head. Which one's going to win? Is doubt and fear going to win, or is the core desire going to win? And you end up, for those that are triumphant in the hero's journey, you have revelation and you overcome your doubt and fears and you move forward and you come into transformation, then to atonement, and then you return back to community with the elixir. The elixir could be a new product, a new service, a new way of doing things that's earning you money, that's getting you into financial independence or financial freedom, okay? So that's how this hero's journey works. It's very, very powerful. And by the way, just so you know, that was discovered by this man. You'll recognize him, George Lucas. And I'm going to tell you this hero's journey story through the eyes of George Lucas and Star Wars. Now, I don't know, maybe you haven't seen Star Wars. Most people on this planet have seen Star Wars. And that's why I'm using it as a very common one, okay? George Lucas, by the way, stood up in one of Joseph Campbell's final lifetime achievement celebrations. And you can look this up on YouTube, and actually said, at the time when I was writing the first Star Wars trilogy, I was really struggling until someone introduced me to this guy named Joe. And his book, A Hero's with 1,000 Faces. And he said, I read the book, and he said in front of everybody at the Lifetime Achievement Award, if it wasn't for Joe Campbell, I would still, now this is, he did that, what, in 1976 to do the first Star Wars, I think it was 78 or 79. This was in 1984, I think, is when he said this. He said, that's 8 years later. He said, if it wasn't for Joe Campbell and his book, The Hero with 1,000 Faces and the Hero's Journey, I would still be writing Star Wars today. Now, I mean, you guys know how big a blockbuster movie that was and how big George Lucas is and what Star Wars did to change the face of the movie industry. He credits all of that to Joseph Campbell and the Hero's Journey. This is how powerful, I'm trying to get this across to you about how powerful this is. Okay? Now, the thing is, what George Lucas did with Star Wars is he went to tell a story of adventure, which reflected our own inner fear and battles, our core desires, and our struggle to achieve a new result or outcome. And he did it through this guy, Luke Skywalker. That was his main hero character in the hero's journey. Okay. If you remember, and I'm going to talk about this in the hero's journey now, if you look at what happened in this movie, we're going to go through this. Okay. Here's Mr. Skywalker up here in his known world, right? He's on planet Tatooine, if you remember the movie. All right. You know, if you're not, I'm going to fill in the pieces. And you should actually go back after I tell you this story and watch Star Wars again, the first Star Wars, and you're never going to watch a movie the same way again now that you know about the hero's journey. Well, this guy, Luke Skywalker, right? He's living on planet Tatooine with his aunt and uncle. He rides his speed around. He fixes robots. He does farming with his uncle. And, you know, it's like, that's his known world. Just like I said before, he's happy, he's contented, but he has a wanderlust. He knows, he has heard about being a Jedi Knight. He wants to be a Jedi Knight, right? Well, what happens is that if you go, if you go back to the movie, well, you know that Princess Leia gets captured and with C-3PO and R2-D2. That's these two guys right here, the two robots, right? And she's brought to the Death Star where Darth Vader is, and the robots get sold and they get brought down to planet Tatooine. They have these little short guys that are in the the little robes and costumes that they're speaking some other language, and they sell C-3PO and R2-D2 to Luke Skywalker. Right now, he's still in his known world. Well, he takes him back to his little workshop and he busts open the little one of the headpieces on R2-D2 over here, and out pops this hologram, right? This Princess Leia saying, "Oh, Obi-Wan Kenobi, we need your help. The Force is in trouble. I've been captured," and all that kind of stuff. And Luke's going, "What the heck's this all about?" Right? So he has this dinner with his uncle and aunt. He says, "Hey, I got this. I popped this robot open. There was this message." She goes, "Do you guys know who this Obi-Wan Kenobi is?" He goes, "Is that old Ben Kenobi up on the north side of the planet?" And his uncle knows that his dad is Darth Vader. He goes, "No, it's not him." He tries to play it down. You have to focus on your farming and stuff like that, right? So, Luke just kind of passes it off. Well, then it cuts to the next scene, right? Still in his known world. He's riding his speeder out to the north side of the planet. They're going out to collect something, and what happens? He gets attacked by the sand people. Remember those big, tall people? And they go, "Arr!" And they got the big sticks, and one of them is about ready to whack Luke and either knock him out or kill him. And who shows up? This guy, this Herald. He's the Herald, Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? And he saves Luke and he brings him back. He saves him from the sand people, and so Luke shows Obi-Wan Kenobi this message, and that's when Obi-Wan Kenobi becomes his herald. He says, "Luke, it's time for you to join the Force to become a Jedi Knight." Well, in the archetypal hero character, Luke he's a reluctant hero. He doesn't want to go from his known world, right? He says, "No, I can't go. My uncle needs me here to work around, to work on the farm and take care of the robots and all that kind of stuff," right? So still in his known world, Luke goes back, and I couldn't put all this in the circles here, but he goes back with his speeder, right, back to his house. He comes over the horizon, he sees a bunch of smoke billowing, and there is his house burned up, and he looks over on to the right, and his uncle's laying there barbecued. He's burned up, right? So now Luke says, "Okay, that's it, I'm going." And what does he do? He crosses the threshold here into the unknown. And his first stop is going to planet Dagobah, where he meets the wizard. And the wizard, as you guys all know, this little furry character here, Yoda. Yoda is the wizard. He's the teacher and master, just like you will be teacher and master during the hero's journey when you're selling your product, service, or opportunity, right? So he goes through a bunch of challenges, right? He, in fact, if you think about it, right, if you remember the movie, when Luke lands on planet Dagobah, he lands in this swamp. He gets out. It's this dark water. There's these serpents. What is that? That's his doubt and fear. He is literally steeped in his doubt and fear in the movie. And so he goes to this wizard. And remember, he's in the little hut, and the balls, running around, whacking him in the head. He's doing all this stuff where he's standing on his head and floating boxes. And pretty soon, he gets to the point where he has learned what he needs, where he can lift his ship out of the swamp that was stuck in there, right, with his Jedi power, right, his Jedi skills that he's learned, right? So then he goes into the next phase, which is what's called temptation. And here in temptation, right, he has this big battle with this big black guy, towery guy is Darth Vader, right? You guys all know him. And they have this fight, and Darth is, he's got his hand out there. You can see in that part of the movie, he's calling him, "Come to the dark side of the Force, be with me. We will be a great power together," right? Well, and Luke says, no, I'm not doing that, right? So he goes into the innermost cave, and Darth represents his greatest fear. Now, he doesn't know he's his dad right now. He's the evil. He's a representation of everything that's evil, everything that's doubtful, everything that's fearful, right? So he has this death fight. This is the representation that George Lucas had. He has this death fight with this gladiator, right? And who's over there egging him on? This ugly dude, the Emperor, right? He's going, kill him, right? So what happens is Luke finally vanquishes Darth. Darth's laying there. He takes off this helmet, and he tells Luke, he says, "Luke, I am your father." While this guy over here is going, "Kill him. You'll be my new protege. We'll have power. We will conquer the universe," right? So, but Luke is going through this transformation process where he's showing compassion for his father, even though his father was the representation of everything that he thought was evil, right? So he seizes this elixir. This is his last transformation to finally become that Jedi Knight. And he comes back to the community with all his friends, which were his helpers over here, right? You got Han Solo, you got the Wookiee, you got Princess Leia. They're in the Millennium Falcon, right? And they come back to community. And now Luke is returning as a Jedi Knight. He has the elixir, which is to become a Jedi. It's not his lightsaber. It's to be the Jedi. That's his elixir. He returns back as an enlightened individual with a new awareness because he has this elixir, which is to be the Jedi. So, guys, that is the essence to tell you of the hero's journey through, and I did it quickly, but through one of the most famous movies in the history of all movies, which is through Star Wars. Now, if you think about it, and you can look up another individual, Christopher Vogler, who is one of the most famous playwrights in Hollywood, also got a hold of Joseph Campbell's hero's journey. And you can see, if you go to any movie, now that I've explained to you what the hero's journey is, it was used in Finding Nemo. It was used in all the Harry Potters. In fact, the lady who wrote that book, she used the hero's journey in all the books. It was used in The Wizard of Oz. It was used in Casablanca. It was used in The Matrix, if you like that kind of movie. It was used in both movies of Tron. It was used in Toy Story. I can go on and on and on. All good literature, all good movies, they all use this archetypal theme with the main character who has, it could be a reluctant hero or the underdog or whatever. They have a different archetype, but they go through a hero's journey, which is that inner dialogue battle between core doubt and core desire to overcome it, to vanquish it, to seize the sword or seize the elixir. And this is the same process that your prospects go through when they're looking at your product, service, or opportunity. This is why we have the story selling blueprint formula. It takes a person through the hero's journey telling the right sequence of stories. All right, so we can apply this to selling. And this is the roadmap that I teach in this workshop course, the story selling blueprint formula. We first have to go through step one, their angel avatar. Then, and I'm going to explain what each of these are, but this here is your person you're selling. Then you're going to tell them a sales magnet story, then a herald story as the herald. Then you become the wizard and the teacher. They go through a process of discovery, because one thing you have to understand in sales is you cannot sell anything to anybody. People go through a process of discovery to buy, okay? And that's why this is so powerful, using this hero's journey formula. After that, then you tell a transformation story. They're going to go through the innermost cave and have this death fight of the gladiator. You then tell an ownership story, blueprint story, and then they finally seize the sword, which is your elixir. It's your product, service, or opportunity. So I'm going to go through each of these now so you understand. I just want to give you a graphical depiction so you can understand what each of these are now, okay? So first of all, though, I'm going to take a drink of water here, and then we'll answer this question. Why is story selling so powerful? Well, number one, people love to hear stories. You love to hear stories. It's really built into our DNA. It goes all the way back to when we were cave people. If you look at, cave paintings, those were stories. Even before we had verbal communication, cavemen and cave women were writing stories on the walls in the caves, okay? The stories, they speak to an inner dialogue. If you look at even back to cave, what do they depict? Animals and hunting. This was what was on their mind. This was their core desire, which is, I got to go hunt and get some food or I'm going to starve to death, right? So the stories speak to that inner dialogue between core doubt and core desire. They connect the story selling formula is powerful because it connects that inner dialogue to your product or your service or your business opportunity if you're looking for business builders, okay? They help that person. The story selling helps the person to overcome their fears, and it also and finally builds massive desire and inspires buying, okay? So the 5 secrets I'm going to share with you now in this workshop to better your sales conversion, because I'm sure every single person out there is really wanting to do better in sales, have better sales commissions, better their sales conversions, increase the revenue in their business. So we're going to go through these 5 secrets. Secret number 1, you need to find your heroes. And I'm going to explain what that means. Secret number 2, you need to get the prospect's attention for a better sales conversion. That's where first it starts by picking the right type of people to talk to. Then it's secret number 2 is you got to get their attention. Then the secret number 3 is you call them to adventure. Okay. Secret number 4, you create a transformation within them, in their inner dialogue. Secret number 5 is you inspire ownership in that. In other words, you're helping them take mental possession of the product, service, or opportunity you have before they take physical possession with their wallet. Okay. And I'll explain how to do that as well. So in secret number 1, where I said you need to find your heroes. Now, we call these angel avatars. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to attract the angels and repel the devils, okay? And you guys, you'll know I'm going to talk about what angels are, but let me share quickly what a devil looks like. Now, I don't mean devils as in bad people. I just use this colloquially as how you identify people you want to talk to who are your heroes and people you don't want to talk to. And you've already talked to some of these devils. You'll know it because devils, they see your product as commodity. They always ask first, what's the price, right? You ever had that? These are devils. They're very price sensitive. They see everything as a commodity. Like you're not any different than anybody else. I can get this anywhere, just like they could buy toilet paper at any grocery store, right? They're very critical and negative. They're hard to please. They demand a lot for a little. You ever had one of those people? They're hard to please and they demand a lot for a little. You're probably going, oh yeah, because those are devils. You don't want to hang out with those people. They're not your customer or your client, okay? They make excuses and they complain a lot. That's what a devil looks like. So don't attract those people. Those are people you want to repel. The angels, on the other hand, like I show here, they're excited that you showed up in their life. They express gratitude for you. Angels are passionate about your product, service, or opportunity. Angels almost sell themselves in your product. You ever had that happen? Where it's like, wow, I didn't really almost do anything. They were like so excited about this. It's like, well, where can I get one of these? Right? We've all had that. Those are angels. You want to find more of those people. Okay. We have a 7-question formula to help you uncover your angels. And the people who are on this call who took this course, they've worked through that. They've created their angel avatar. And by the way, you can have multiple angel avatars. You can have an angel avatar for every one of your products. You can have angel avatars for people you want to find for your business opportunity or business builders. You can have an angel avatar for a service if you're selling a service. And these angel avatars, they're all different. It's not a one size fits all. So this is why we have a 7-question formula to help you uncover all the angels that are related to your business. Okay, so that's secret number 1. Now, what would it do to your business if you could attract people who are grateful you showed up? Okay, think about that for a second. If you could find people who are actually thankful and grateful for you, that you showed up in your life, what would that do to your business, to you personally, to your confidence, to your self-esteem? It would be phenomenal, correct? Okay. Secret number 2, you got to get their attention. Now, a story naturally arouses curiosity. If you don't believe me, walk up to some stranger tomorrow and say to them this: hey, can I tell you a story? What do you think they're going to say? Sure, because people have it built into their DNA. You're not triggering any kind of sales filter that I talk about in the croc brain. You're not being salesy. You're just telling a story. Everybody loves stories. Now, the sales, to get their attention, you need to tell them a story about a person like them, okay? We call this your sales magnet story, okay? It creates interest because they can relate. Why? Because it's about a person like them. So it's like, hey, I want to tell you a story about Joe who has high cholesterol just like you, okay? They're going to listen because if they have high cholesterol, it's about a story about a person like them. You're going to get a lot more yeses than nos when you tell the sales magnet story. And we have an exact formula for how to write that sales magnet story. And by the way, you can have multiple sales magnet stories. Again, once you know the formula, it's very easy to write out these sales magnet stories very quickly. Now, I have to ask you a question. What would it do to your confidence If you had a lot more people using the sales magnet to get interest, say, yes, I'm interested, instead of, no, thank you, I don't want any part of that, or no, thanks, or no, or don't bother me with that, okay? What would that do to your confidence? All right. Secret number 3, you call them to adventure. Now, people follow people they trust. The call to adventure that you tell in this Herald story is for a better life, better health, better something, a better result. The Herald story that you're going to learn builds that trust and desire, but it's a twist. And that twist is, it's not a story about them. It's a story about you. It's about your emotion, your struggle, your discovery. Why do you do that? Because it makes you more credible, more relatable. It builds that massive trust. So in the end, they'll cross that threshold into the unknown, into discovery. They're going to want to know more about your product, service, or opportunity because they can relate to you, because you became credible by telling this Herald story. And in the workshop, we have the formula for how to write your Herald story. Okay. Now, what would it do in building your business credibility if you told them a story about your struggle and discovery? What do you think that would do? If you tied it, your struggle and discovery, especially with emotion, what would that do as far as building your credibility with that person? Compared to trying to spit a bunch of data and facts about your products and benefits and features where the person in their head's going, I don't want any part of this. You ever had that happen? Yeah, because it's happened to you and you've done it to other people, right? This is why all this stuff you've been told is all wrong. If you tell stories, you are going to build confidence. You're going to build credibility. You're going to build interest. They are going to want to go on their hero's journey with you as the herald and as the wizard, okay? The teacher, the mentor. Secret number 4, you create a transformation in them. Now you become the wizard. You are there. You're the teacher. Your story, you ever saw that show Mythbusters on TV? That's exactly what this is all about. You become a mythbuster. Your story is to tell them a new truth, to help them get the result they desire. Okay. And this is done through the transformation story. Why do we do that? Because it creates a price and value disassociation. Otherwise, you are viewed as a commodity and the lowest price is king, and you are going to lose sales to your competitor that has a lower priced or perceived lower priced product than yours. Have you guys ever lost a sale to a competitor or a lower priced product? You're probably all going, yes, I have, nodding your head. You've done that because they see your product as a commodity, because you haven't been the wizard, created that transformation, that new truth, and done the myth busting in their head to create that price and value disassociation. I hope a lot of you guys are out there right now are going, oh my gosh, I never thought about it that way. This is like huge, because the transformation story is the kingpin of the story selling workshop. It is what really changes the game for people. Okay. So that is the secret number 4 is you create the transformation. Now I got to ask you a question. What would it do to your success if you could create a new value where your price is not a major objection? You ever had people ask you, what's your price? And then say, wow, that's kind of expensive. Why? They're making a judgment on your product based on what? On other things that they believe is a similar value, because you haven't done any price or value disassociation. You haven't created a new truth. This is why you're getting price objection. This is why it's happening. Okay. So the transformation story solves that part of the puzzle. Secret number 5, you have to inspire ownership. You need to, through the ownership blueprint story, you create an ownership experience in their mind. You're demonstrating how your product gets their result, or your service or your business opportunity, and satisfies their core desire, which you got when you filled out you went through the angel avatar formula. Okay. The ownership story helps create mental possession. It's done through a 6-step formula that we teach, that you will go through to build the story with emotional connection, using things like feel, felt, and found. and mental triggers. And you're going to learn all about that inside the Story Selling Blueprint formula. But the reason why you do that is you want to create that massive desire and create that mental possession, because we always buy in our mind first before we buy with our wallet. Okay. So the question I have to ask you is, what would it do to your bottom line? Now, this is your business bottom line. If you could create an ownership experience to inspire buying before they ever pulled out their credit card or wrote a check or pull out their wallet and pay cash, what would it do to your bottom line if you could create that ownership experience in their mind to inspire buying? What would that do? Let me ask you a question. If all this training did was to double your sales, what would that be worth to you? Would you want to have a tool to double your income? Now, let's really recap quickly on the power of stories and selling. We learned that you've got to first target your angels, right? You got to identify using that 7-question formula, who are my ideal clients or customers? We learned to get past all that rejection. You tell a story about a person like them, and you have to do it in the right way. That's why we have a formula for how to write these sales magnet stories. We also learned that before you can call them to adventure, they've got to trust you, right? They're not going to go with just anybody. Would you? So that's why we create this Herald story about a story like you. And again, there is a formula and sequence of what to write, so it is the most powerful, the most impactful, the most emotionally connected with them, so that you build that credibility, you build that trust, so they will go on that adventure with you. We also learned that you've got to create a new truth, or you're always fighting the price game. If you don't bust the myths and create the new truth, you're going to be seen as a commodity. You're going to be compared with whatever is in their head that's related to your product or service that you have no control over, and you're always going to be fighting that price game. We also learned that all people buy first in their mind before their wallet. This is why we create that ownership blueprint story, that formula that we use that creates that mental possession of the product, service, or opportunity that you have before the physical possession. Now, I know you're thinking, a lot of you out there, being able to tell stories to double my income would be a dream come true. Does it sound like a stretch? I used to feel that way too, until it happened to me. And I started using this, and it started having really good results. And it changed the way I felt about using stories to sell more. Now that I've found how to sell with stories, I'm telling you guys, I'll never go back to my old ways of using scripts and trial closings and objection handling that doesn't work. Okay. Imagine if all you had to do was tell stories to double, triple, or quadruple your sales. Would you be able to grow your savings? Okay. If you're able to do that, would you want to travel? Would you want to help out your favorite cause? These are all things that people want to do, but they can't because they're not making enough money, or they're not making the money that they desire. Now, here's an example of someone that's used this. His name is Bill. Some of you guys may know Bill. Here's what he said about this kind of stuff. This guy knows what he's talking about. He's worked on me and changed me, and now my business has exploded. Okay. Now, imagine if instead of that typical resistance you get, people actually listened and engaged with you. Would you be more confident? Would you have more enthusiasm for your business? I mean, think about it. If you actually had people that paid attention to you and you didn't feel salesy and slimy and sleazy, and you told stories, would you have more enthusiasm for your business and actually want to go out and talk to more people? Okay. Would it get you excited? Now, it did for this person, Elizabeth, and I know you're on the call. This is what Elizabeth had to say after going through the Story Selling Blueprint Formula Workshop. My biggest struggle was not knowing how to approach people about my business. Then I discovered this workshop. One of my teammates and myself had a party last night. She was talking about I think they had a certain type of product party with 6 people, and 4 people placed orders. And it happened because I told stories. So, Elizabeth is on here, and Elizabeth, thank you for sharing that. But this has been a game changer, and I haven't talked to Elizabeth in a while. I'm sure she's sold some more products since that time too. Okay. So this stuff actually, these are real life people. This is not just me using this. These are people that went through the workshop, learned this stuff, and the results that they're getting. Now, imagine how easily this would be able to teach to your team. If you have a team of salespeople or a team of distributors or a team of whatever, imagine how easy this would be to teach your team. Would it more rapidly build your business? Would you enjoy working with these people more than you do right now? Would you actually enjoy and have fun with your team? I know a lot of you guys, you're struggling because it's like, I don't know how to duplicate myself. I don't know how to leverage myself through others. Guess what? This is how you do it. And they can easily learn how to tell stories. Why? Because we've been telling stories since we've been little kids. And for some reason, we forgot how to do that by our mom and dad telling us bedtime stories and then learning how to tell stories to each other. And then we get in the adult world and we go to sell and we go, ooh, I got to learn sales scripts and deal with objections and trial closings. No, you just have to tell stories, okay? Like it did for this guy, Ken. Ken was a student, also the storytelling workshop. Here's what he said. What's important to me about this workshop was being able to find a genuine emotional twist that is like tearing right into their chest and yanking on their heartstrings and keeping it simple. After learning this, I taught it to my teammates, and they are selling with just their stories. Just incredible. Okay. See, this doesn't have to be rocket science. It doesn't have to be complicated. What you do need to know is how to create these stories, how to use them in the formula. Once you do, the whole world will unlock for you. Okay. Now, everybody knows people buy from people they like, know, and trust. And if you're not getting the results you want, it has nothing to do with this, your product, your opportunity, your ability to sell, or you. It has nothing to do with those things. So quit beating yourself up. It's okay. You're not doing anything wrong. It has to do with connecting the right way with the power of stories told in the right sequence. Okay. I'd like to paint a picture for you just how easy this is with the story selling blueprint formula. Okay. Here's what you're going to get if you decide you want to take this course, this 6-module course. All modules include a training webinar, helpful worksheets, and audio files to download and listen anytime you want. You can take them on your iPod, you can take them in your car, you can take them anywhere. It helps you to really get this skill down, okay? After each training, you'll be crafting a piece of your story selling package, okay? And inside, you're going to have a lifetime unlimited membership membership access to our membership site. It has a story selling masterclass here. It has all of the different modules. There will be additional bonuses that I will add from time to time. You'll watch the video, the webinar video. You'll be able to download the MP3 audio. You have your homework sheets that you'll click on right here to go ahead and do your homework. It's all there. It's all pre-built. It's all accessible for you immediately, right now, today. Okay. All right. So what we go through first in the module number 1 is finding your heroes. And that's a $197 value. It will teach you how to identify your ideal client, how to uncover their core desires, how to discover their doubts and fears, and how to find out what's important to them. You'll have and understand the sales magnet story. It's how to get the prospect's attention, how to overcome, hey, that no thanks, I'm not interested. You ever had that? And also how to create the sales magnet stories. All these stories, you're going to learn how to create them on the fly. I mean, imagine if you could, when you're talking to somebody, covered something that was their core desire, you could say, you know what, I have a story I want to tell you about a person named Barbara, just like you. You want to hear it? We're going to go, sure. And you then create the sales magnet story on the fly. The Herald story will teach you how to become relatable, how to build trust and make a connection, how to use emotion in the story so that you are vulnerable and believable, and how to create credibility to call them to adventure. The transformation story, this is one of the kingpins. It has high value because you're teaching them how to create a daily reality life shift for them, how to build a new truth which creates value, how to overcome that price objection. That is so, so important. And if you've been stuck with that, like most of us have, this will be your godsend to learn how to write and tell a transformation story. Then the ownership story, or the ownership blueprint story, another kingpin, very, very important, because it teaches you how to connect your product to their core desires, how to use mental triggers like anticipation, imagination, hope, things that really stick in people's minds, how to make your story believable and powerful, how to help them take that mental possession before that physical possession. And then lastly, the sixth one, which we didn't talk about, this is a bonus, is how to build a crushing offer. This is really how to overcome doubt and buyer's remorse. You ever had the buyer's remorse where, I'm not sure if I should have bought that? Well, we're going to teach you how to build a crushing offer, how to create high demand in their mind so they have that high desire, and how to create a buying frenzy so that they really feel like they have to pull out their credit card and buy now. Okay. What I just gave you is an overview of the exact solution I and others use, like you saw, to double, triple, or even quadruple our sales. And now that you know what I know, I'm going to share with you what this costs. Now, once you're inside and you saw the membership site and you're learning, you're going to realize this course is easily worth over $2,000. But I didn't want to charge that much, and here's why. I want to tell you a little story. When we did the course, and some of you are on, and some of you know that, we actually, I talked to people, and they were getting a lot out of this course, and they said, we'd love to do this thing again. We'd like to do it for our team members. We'd like to be able to offer this to other people because we see there's huge value in this to grow our businesses. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll offer it one final time at the same price that you guys had it before it goes to, because right now I'm building a worldwide market. I have partners in the UK, in South America, in Canada, in the United States, and we are launching this on an international basis. But I didn't want to do that before you guys got a chance to get it at the price that the initial members got it at. So after that realization, I decided to offer it one final time. This is the last time I'm going to do it. So if you want to get in before the price goes way up and learn this stuff to really catapult your 2015, you can do it for 2 payments of $97. Okay. The story selling course has worked for people in direct sales, coaches, consultants, authors, speakers, network marketing people, and corporations. Okay. Like it did for Jason. And what Jason said here is, before going through the story selling workshop, I knew that being able to form and tell compelling stories was the key to my business, but I had yet to discover a method that could guide me through from A to Z. What to say, how to say it, where to start. In the next 6 months, I'll be launching a personal development podcast, app, and coaching service. I now feel extremely confident in being able to position my brand in ways that truly differentiate my offer from the market. You guys know how important that is. We're subjected to some, I read somewhere between 3,000 and 5,000 messages a day. Well, by telling stories in the right way, you can transcend that. You can rise above that marketing noise, just like Jason was talking about here, to truly differentiate your product from all others in the marketplace. Okay. Or how about Kehal? Kehal's on here. Kehal, my good brother, he said, the whole storytelling process from start to finish was quite the enlightening journey. The results that I achieved from taking the story selling blueprint workshop has created a more detailed and attention-grabbing story. This story selling workshop will help me be more confident in my sales approach and in crafting stories, especially crafted for each individual. So Kehal, I'd love you could share in chat if you want about kind of where you're at and how that's working for you and things like that. And then there's Sandy. Sandy is Bud and Sandy are on here. Sandy said this about the story selling blueprint formula. What I learned by taking this workshop was how to take people along their own hero's journey from known to unknown and finally wanting to buy what I have to offer. I was trying to skip many of the stages of the sales process. Everyone talks about the importance of three-way calls. So when I get my teammate on the call with me and my potential client, I would ask them to share stories with a potential customer, and that has made all the difference. Why? Because people love hearing stories. They connect to them. They remember them. They get inspired by them. Okay. So Sandy is on her way to using the story selling in building her business. Okay. Now here's what you get. You get the Finding Your Heroes. That's $197 value. The Sales Magnet Story, $197 value. The Herald Story, $197 value. The Transformation Story, $397. The Ownership Story, $397. And Building a Crushing Offer, $497. For a total value of $1,882. Now, I'm going to add 2 bonuses for you guys that have stayed on. I'm going to add 2 bonuses. Bonus number 1 is you're going to get the top 7 pages you need to build your business online. It's an audio course. It's a $97 value. I'm going to teach you, because a lot of you guys, if you haven't gone online, you really should, to build your business as one way to bring in prospects. You can still tell them stories, and you should, okay? But this will give you the top 7 pages you need to build that business online. And then bonus number 2, I'm going to give you the top 6 reasons why people don't buy and what to do about it. And that's a $47 value there. You see the book right there. It's a very compelling book about why people don't buy and what you can do about that. All right. Now, I'm so confident in the story selling formula that it has a 30-day satisfaction money back guarantee. If for any reason you go check it out, you don't like it, you don't think it's going to help you build your business and sell more often, then just ask me for a refund and I'll give it back to you gladly. Okay. If all this system did for you was increase your sales conversions by a few percentage, would it be worth it? I mean, just a few percentage. I'm not talking, we talked about doubling, tripling, or quadrupling, but just a few percentage. Would it be worth it to you? What's another sale worth to you per year, per month, or per day? Really, what's that worth? You can see why people are paying me. And I have people that I'm working with that are paying me in $10,000 or more in fees for this kind of system in our incubator. Okay. You can see why corporate clients are calling me to come teach this to their sales staff, because you understand the power this would bring to you. I'm offering it to you for 2 payments of $97. Now, if you want to get in on this, if you go over to Pop-ins, you're going to see a book over there, the story selling book, and a big yellow button that says sign up today. You can click on that button and go ahead and put in your payment. And you might want to do that. And here's why. For those of you that stay till the end of this webinar, I'm going to sweeten the deal. For the first 10 people who take advantage of this offer, I'm going to do a 30-minute one-on-one consultation with me. Now, that's a $497 value, because, guys, here's the thing. We're all busy. I have a lot on my plate just like you do. But I really want to help you. So for the first 10 people out of this group that jump in, they click the sign up today button and they make their payment, and I will know who you are because it comes in the merchant account. I know exactly. It's time stamped. For those first 10, I will do a 30-minute one-on-one private consultation with me so that you can really accelerate your business and get it going. So that's bonus number 3, the 30-minute one-on-one consultation with me, but for the first 10 people only. Now, guys, if you think about it, the story selling blueprint formula, you can find out what George Lucas, Ron Howard, and Steven Spielberg already know about telling stories to connect with an audience and make blockbuster money in the process. Okay. So just what you can do is it's 2 payments, $97. And I have to ask you, are you ready to create your success for 2015? If your answer is yes, this is an absolute value for you. You can go ahead and click on the sign up today. It's over in the pop-ins. If you click the top pop-ins, you can get in and be one of the first 10. You get that free 30-minute one-on-one consultation with me by clicking on the sign up today. If you don't see that for whatever reason, then just go ahead and use this right here. It's bit.ly/buy stories. So bit.ly/buy stories. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this webinar and got a lot out of it and learned a few things along the way in the process. Now we have time. We actually did really good on time. So I have some people. There's some comments here, and Mary wrote a comment. I'll read that. Mary, thank you very much. But if you have any questions or anything about the course or about the cost, the payment it's $97 today and $97 30 days from now. So you're not dinged the total amount today. So if you're a little strapped for cash and you want to use you have a 2 payment plan. And again, it's an absolute bargain at the 2 payments of $97. But I tried to string it out for you so you can go through the course. You can start creating some sales. Okay, so we'll get in. If you have any questions, go ahead and type them in the chat box right now. I'll leave this bit.ly bit.ly/buy stories up, and you guys can go ahead and do that, or do the pop-ins and just click on. If you click on that top tab, pop-ins, you will see the offer. Click on the sign up now yellow button. That'll take you over to the payment too. And it'll open up a new tab so you won't have to worry about losing this. So let's go ahead. If you have any questions about anything here, go ahead and type them in the chat box. I'll stay on for another 5 or 10 minutes. We'll answer some questions. Mary Walsh, Mary, good to have you on. She's actually one of our students that was in there. She said, since the story selling course, I have been able to approach a person I had been rejected by 2 years ago. Our relationship has now become very close, and he's being really honest with me. For the first time, he is asking questions and is trusting me enough for the first time to read the research I have offered from him from 2 years ago. The story selling is really amazing. I also sold the K8 just using the Crockbrain site. It is definitely worth the time and money. So that's somebody that's been through the course. She also has the Crockbrain course. She's using it to, build her business. And Mary, I've talked to Mary before on the phone. She's a very nice lady, very pleasant, very personable, loves to talk to people, very outgoing. And she's using what she's learning to build her business. Okay. So that's great. Maureen says, thanks, Peter. Really enjoyed it. Pauline, great. Mate, thanks a million. You are welcome, Pauline. Hope to see you in the workshop. Bud and Sandy, so great to be on a webinar with you again. Yeah, I missed all you guys. Well, remember, for you guys that are we're in the course, we got our follow-up Q&A coming the third week of January, so look for that. Those are for the people that took the course before. We'll be going through. So, Diana, thank you, Peter. You are welcome, Diana. Melanie says, Peter, did you record this by any chance? Yeah, this is recorded. This is a live one. I like to do live because we can get some interaction with questions. But it is recorded. You will be able to share this replay. You'll get an automatic replay link in your email. Share it with your teammates. They should watch this too. If you really want to build your business for 2015, I highly recommend they watch this webinar and they jump in. The workshop is going to be starting this next week, by the way. So for the people who signed up already, we're starting next week, next Thursday. That would be January 15th. And then it will be every Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Beverly says, I'm not finding where to order. So Beverly, either click on the pop-ins tab at the top where you're seeing that, or Beverly, go ahead and type this into your URL. So just open up a new tab and type in exactly as you see it here. I left it up. So you just type in bit.ly, then do a / on your keyboard, and then BUY stories. And you'll be able to go right to the PayPal order page and put in your information on your credit card, and you'll be in the story selling workshop. Kelly, cheers, Peter. We'll be chatting soon. Sounds good, Kelly. Glad you made it. Hope to see you in the workshop course. Melanie says, yes, thank you. Good, Melanie, that's great. Love to have you there. Okay. Okay, so this was a private question from somebody who already ordered this. The person said, I purchased this last month, so he got in early. So he could go through the class for the first time. We had, you paid your 2 payments. What I don't know is, will we get the bonuses in the one-on-one? Yes, you will, because you actually were one of the first 10. So you'll get the bonuses and you will get the one-on-one because you jumped in early. So don't worry about that. I know who you are. I know when you came in, so it's all good. So you're good to go. Patricia Bonner says, I had someone ask me about the course today, told her she needed to take it. Thanks, Peter. Yeah, Patricia, that's great. I hope, Patricia, you were in the course too, and I hope you're doing well with this. Send her, if you can, send her the link if she wasn't on here. So send her the link so she can watch this workshop. Because, what I try to do, guys, is I don't want to just do a salesy type webinar. I do sell, and you guys know I have the product for offer, but I try to teach you a lot in the process, so you get a lot of really good content. We will do not only, the story selling workshop, you'll do your homework. We do Q&As. You can talk to the other students. Cahow went through it. John Stevens went through it. John, good to see you on here. Yeah, you're welcome. Happy New Year, John. Mary Walsh went through it. If you know these people, you can ask them here if they want. I don't, they can write whatever they want. I don't control it, but ask them what their experience was in the story selling workshop. They'll tell you. You got Mary's already, but there's other people on here that can give you feedback on, how the workshop has helped them or not helped them. That's really up for them to say. Okay, so Kelly says, want to sign up but not coming up. Okay, so Kelly, then go ahead and if it's not coming up, then go ahead and use this. Just open up a new URL, a tab, click on, whether you're using Internet Explorer or Firefox, just click on a tab at the top, up at the very top, and type in the bit.ly / buy stories. And if it still doesn't come up, if you're having trouble, just email me and I'll help you out with it tomorrow. We'll get you signed up. And you should have all your counterparts there from New Zealand and Australia on this thing. You guys should actually do it as a team. I think it'd be very, very cool. because I'm telling you, you guys, you'll explode it down under there. Mary says, still trying to make a payment, but won't let me. Okay, so Mary and everybody else, here's what you can do. If you're having trouble, you can do the bit.ly.buy stories, but also you can send me an email tomorrow at crocbrain@gmail.com. So just send me an email at crocbrain.gmail.com and say, I want to get ordering, and I'll take care of you tomorrow. We'll get you in the system. And because you tried, you're still in, I don't know who's ordered, who hasn't, Mary, but don't worry. We'll get you in one of the 10, because I know you're trying to get in, so you can get the one-on-one consultation. All right, Kelly says, yep, done. Cheers. Okay, so it worked for you, Kelly. Good. You're in. Hopefully you're one of the 10, Kelly, because I'd love to help you with your business. Jim says, once again, Peter, great stuff. You're right. I can watch a good movie without looking for – I can't watch a good movie without looking for the hero's journey. Talk to you soon. It's my good friend, Jim. Jim, great to have you on here. I'm glad you're learning. Jim and I are doing some absolutely wonderful stuff together in my other part of the business called the Product Factory and the Incubator, but we're having a lot of fun together. John Stevens says, very helpful and well worth the investment in yourself. I highly recommend it. So John, thank you. John is talking about, he went through the course and he's using it now. And he's saying, it's well worth the investment. It's highly recommended. I'm glad it's helping you, John, to sell more often. So Mary says, lost audio and still was not able to make the payment. Okay. So Mary, just go ahead and send me at crocbrain@gmail.com. I'll just put in the chat. Let me type a message. Sometimes technology is goofy. You can't always tell if it's going to work. I'll just put, if you can't get the order done, just send me an email at crocbrain@gmail.com, and I'll put your phone number in there, and I'll call you tomorrow. We'll get the order done. Okay, sound fair? So I'll post this here. So boom. All right. So I just put in there, guys, so you could read it. Mary too. If you can't get the order done, just send me an email at crocbrain@gmail.com. Put your phone number in there, and I'll call you tomorrow. So Diana, same for you. You're trying to make the payment, you can't get in. It might be something with the Google Hangouts. If you tried the bit.ly/buy stories, and you're still having trouble, then Diana, just go ahead and send me an email tomorrow. I'll try to make. Johnny said work for me. So Johnny's in. Good job, Johnny. But if you guys are having trouble, just send me an email to crocbrain@gmail.com. It's getting late for all of us here, but I'll call you in the morning and I'll walk you through it. Just make sure you put your phone number in there so I know who to call. So Diana, Mary, and everyone else, if you're having troubles, that's okay. We'll get you in tomorrow. So it's all good. Any other questions related to this workshop and anything you guys want to know about the story selling workshop or how to sell with stories? I'll stay on for another minute or two. Yeah, Kelly says, hope you're one of the 10. I'm sure you are, Kelly. I'll check it tomorrow, when I wake up in the morning. But I'd love to help you. And Kelly, I did answer you back, by the way, on Skype. I didn't see that you were on there, so you can check your Skype messages and things like that. But I did answer you back, ask how things were going and things. So, and I'd love to reconnect with you, see how things are going down there in New Zealand. All right. Any other questions? We'll go once, go twice, going 3 times. Again, guys, it was really, really great having you on this workshop, this free workshop, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a lot. I hope you took some notes. Go out and try some things that I talked to you about. More importantly, if you can handle it, the 2 payments of $97, get in on the workshop. I'd love to have you to help you really grow your business and explode it for 2015. If you're ready really to create that success, I highly advise, and so do those other people. You heard from Mary, you heard from Elizabeth, you heard from John Stevens, you heard from a lot of people about how it's helped them. How all these people who have taken the course, you saw their, you know, their feedback. Those are things that they wrote. I didn't write that. That's what they wrote. It'll really, really help you. So with that, guys, have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the evening. Good rest of the week. For those of you guys that couldn't get in, don't be frustrated. Just send me an email at crocbrand@gmail.com, and I will take care of you in the morning. So with that, guys, good night. Have a good evening, and we will talk soon. All right.